Good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and I welcome you all in this live session by Drishti IAS. So the new year has begun, so myself and from the team Drishti, I wish you a happy new year. I hope your coming year would be bright and with all the success. So we'll start with the newspaper. Since it was weekend, we will cover up the news from the weekend, Saturday and Sunday first. From the newspaper of weekends, there was not very much, or you can say not many newses, because mostly it was political in nature. So we will cover the important agreement which has happened between central government, state government and ULFA. Okay, so let's start with the discussion. We'll start with the practice question and then we'll move forward with the articles, that is ULFA Peace Accord. So this is a grouping, or you can say organization in Assam, which has been struggling, or there was at times it has demanded separate statehood for Assam, and now they have come up with an agreement with state government as well as central government. So it is a tripartite agreement between these three parties. Okay, we'll talk about that. And then ExpoSat. So this satellite has been launched by ISRO. We can say this is the first satellite of the year. It is a new year launch by ISRO. We'll talk about that, why this satellite is important for us. And then war against Naxalism. Here we have seen a trend that they have gone for a peace accord with you can say Manipur insurgents, or after that they are doing it with Assam insurgents, and now they are talking about a war against Naxalism as well. Okay, so we'll talk about these trends and then we'll move forward with the world affairs, and then I'll give you one article for your own read, and then we'll look at the practice question for your prelims as well as mains. Okay, so it is 2024's first newspaper. The headline was Happy New Year. Look where most of the India's medals comes from: villages and towns under 5 lakh annual income, farmers and families. So basically this does not have any importance for your exam point of view, but you must know that there were Asian Games and India has secured some 256 medals. So now you have to have an idea about what were the important games and what were the important medals for your sports section. Okay, since it was not covered in the article, it will be covered in our current affairs magazine, etc. Okay, then Navy boost Arabian Sea surveillance and security. So we know that off Porbandar coast there was some drone attack on two vehicles or vessels, that was MV Cam Plateau and then MV Sai Baba. Okay, so there was attack on these two vessels and there was Indian crew present in that particular vessels, and that is why India has taken you can say a step, and they have increased the security in this particular area. They have deployed various coast guards, various destroyers in this particular area. Okay, we have discussed that article in our previous lecture, so I won't go into details of it. And then ISRO's new year launch, Special Space Observatory X-ray telescope. Okay, so this is the you can say second such observatory in the world. Okay, so we'll talk about that. That is ExpoSat. As I told you, we'll talk about that in detail. Okay, so moving further, let's start with the practice question. Among the listed banks, which one is not typically designated as systematically important bank in India? Okay, so yesterday, or I would say in the last class, we have talked about systematically important banks. These are such banks which are quite important for our economy. They cannot collapse. Okay, if these banks collapse, it will have an impact on economy. So okay, we can say that these are too big to collapse, or you can say too big to fail. So such banks are quite important for your economy, okay, because they are widely interconnected. There is a market base which they occupy, because of which they have a significant importance in the economy. Okay, so India has such three domestically, you can say systematically important banks. These are SBI, ICICI and HDFC. The question asks which is not a typically designated bank, that is Axis Bank. Okay, so option D would be your right answer. Here we have SBI, HDFC and ICICI, which are systematically important banks in India. Okay, now moving further, let's start with the first article. Center state government part of tripartite agreement. Okay, this agreement has been signed with the faction of ULFA. Okay, so this particular organization, United Liberation Front of Assam, it has an objective for separate statehood, and that after that they have asked for autonomy, etc. Okay, which has been divided into various factions, and one of the faction of that particular outfit has come up with an agreement to with the state government as well as central government. Okay, so Amit Shah says that it is a golden day for Assam. Okay, armed cadres to vacate camps, outfit to be disbanded, and this is what has been said by the Home Minister. In a move that Union Minister Amit Shah hailed as a golden day for Assam, its people and the pro-talks faction of ULFA signed a peace accord on Friday with the government of the centre and state, agreeing to shun the violence, disband the organization and join democratic process. So these people from this particular outfit or armed cadre will join the democratic process. As a matter of fact, we can say that they will join the domestic politics now. Okay, and then this has been raising hope and strengthening the effort to end the decades of the insurgency in the state. Okay, so we'll have a background, we'll talk about the background of this particular insurgency. Now when we are talking about different sections, as I told you, there are different sections or factions of this particular outfit. So one of them has which were pro talks with the government, they have come up with this agreement, and there is another section which is hardliners, you can say, that is under Paresh Barua, is not part of this particular agreement. Okay, so you can say that there is still persist issue of this particular insurgency in Assam. Okay, so now here you can say in the recent years we have gone for various agreements like that, that is NLFT agreement in 2019, Bru and Bodo Pacts in 2020, Karbi in 2021, Adivasi agreement in 2022, Assam Meghalaya border agreement, Assam Arunachal border agreement, and the agreement with the ULFA in 2023. So these are some initiatives which has been taken by the government in order to maintain peace and stability in this particular region. Okay, so let's have a look at the ULFA's background. Okay, so there was this article in the Indian Express, or you can say explain section of the Indian Express, which is talking about this peace accord. Okay, so pro talks faction of the United Liberation Front of Assam on Friday signed a historic tripartite pact or deal between with the government of India, state government of Assam. Here is the story of the outlawed insurgents. Okay, so these insurgents, they have started their journey, let's say you can say 1979. Okay, all these things started because Assam has always been important when we are talking about even the British era, because it has resources, it has tea plantations, and then it has coal, it has oil. The first you can say oil field Digboy has been discovered in Assam. So because of that, various people, various communities, or you can say even the British administration has some kind of attraction towards this particular area. Okay, then after partition, we know that there was East Pakistan and the West Pakistan. There are issue of migration from East Pakistan to Assam. After that, we know that East Pakistan has been converted into Bangladesh. After that also there was issues of migration in Assam because of the poverty related things, etc. So these various migrants from these countries like Assam or the various neighborhood, these came in Assam and they settled there, because of which there was a competition for resources available. Okay, and that is why the local communities which are living in Assam has some kind of resentment towards this you can say migrants, and then against the state governments, because in some cases they were not able to provide for the resources of, for everyone's need, and that is why such outfits came in picture. Okay, so that was the time of, as I told you, that 1979 such outfits came up with demands of separate statehood for Assam because of their cultural identity as well as the competition for the resources. Okay, and this journey started from there, and in 6 years we can say that there was Assam Accord which has been signed. Okay, so 6-year long mass movement was there, and Assam Accord find a satisfactory solution to the problem of foreigners in Assam. Okay, so this Assam Accord was signed, but still this demand of statehood persisted after that also. Okay, so there was 4 decades of bloodshed. There was some kind of struggle between these communities over there, or you can say these outfits over there, and then various armed forces has been deployed over there. There was president's rule, etc. Okay, in 1990 there was Operation Bajrang, which was launched by central government in the Assam. Okay, and after that there was president's rule, then there was AFSPA which has been invoked over there. Okay, because of all these things there was resentment in the local people. In 1992, one faction of this particular organization, ULFA, has surrendered with the government. Okay. After that, this particular faction was known as surrendered ULFA. This surrendered ULFA, what they did was they started supporting the government in eliminating the other outfits. Okay. So this particular outfit has actually helped in the secret killings, various operations in the of the central government, and because of which there was various faction. And in 2012 there was another split. Okay, this split was between two people. Okay, one was Arbinda Rajakhova. Okay, and then another person which we have talked about earlier. His name was I'm sorry for that. There was two factions. In 2012 there was one faction which was under this Rajakhova, and another faction was under this Paresh Barua. Sorry for that. So there was these two factions after 2012. This one faction under Rajakhova was prepared to talk with the government. Okay, when they were talking with the government, there was a process of peace which has started, and then ultimately they have given some particular demands, and government has responded to these demands. Right now there were 12-point charter demands which has been made forward by these particular people under Rajakhova, and now we have had talks with that, and now this agreement is in front of us. Okay, so that is the history. This starts from 1979, then there was a 1985 Assam Accord, and after that there was various factions in the ULFA. One surrendered, they have helped the central government, and then after 2012 there was two factions, which was one is pro talks with the government, and another was hardliners which did not want to talk with the government. Okay. So now the other faction of the ULFA still persists, okay, but still it has you can say diminished power right now. Okay, when we are talking about ULFA, its strength, they have various you can say interaction with the other terrorist outfit, let's say Islamic States, etc. They have their connections with the Pakistan's intelligence agency ISI. Okay. And then they have their bases in the nearby areas. When you are talking about the Myanmar, then Bangladesh, okay, whenever there was some kind of operation, they used to flee to these parts. Okay, that is why this issue persisted for long. Okay, all these things are given in this particular article which we have discussed. As I told you, they have sheltered along the training bases and other insurgents, connection with the other insurgents outfits like Islamic State, and there was Harkatul Jihad Islami, Al Qaeda. Okay, all these were connected somehow. In the Kargil war, this particular outfit has supported the Pakistan stance as well. Okay, but that is the history. Now we have this hope that this particular agreement will take us toward more peaceful Assam and northeastern region. Okay, now an incomplete peace. As I told you, there are two factions. One has come up with the government and they have gone for these talks. Okay, and they have moved forward some 14 points charter in front of government. Now it depends on the commitment of the government that how this particular peace accord will be implemented. Okay, so that is why we are saying that whether it is a complete or incomplete peace, which will be decided by the commitment of the government. Second thing is, now state government of Assam is also trying to have a talk with the another faction of ULFA. Okay, so let's see how it ends. Okay, so for that, this is particular article about ULFA peace accord. Specific of this particular peace accord has not been made public yet. Okay, now moving further. So from the weekend there was another news that Argentina not joining BRICS. Okay, hold on. So in the last BRICS summit, it was decided that 6 new members will be added to this particular organization. Okay, China and Russia are trying to expand the BRICS as a whole. So they have said that there are some members which has to be added. They decided 6 members. Okay, one was Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Iran, UAE, Ethiopia, and Argentina. But now there is a regime change in Argentina, and Argentina is saying that they are not ready for joining BRICS as of yet. Okay, so that is the news. So you can say that these people were these countries were getting full-fledged membership from the new year, that is 1st of January, beginning of 2024. But now Argentina said that we are not yet ready for it. Okay, so you can say when we are talking about the expansion of BRICS, and we have termed this particular expansion as a BRICS plus informally. Okay, so now there are 5 members. which are yet willing to join this. Okay, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Iran, UAE and Ethiopia. Okay, and there are some other members you can say which has applied for the membership, which are given in the yellow color. Okay, now moving further, we'll start with the today's newspaper. So ISRO's New Year launch special space observatory X-ray telescope. Okay, launch of first X-ray polarimeter satellite, a space-based observatory to study X-ray polarization. Okay, so ISRO has launched this particular satellite. This is the picture of the payload. Okay, so it has been launched by the PSLV C58. It was supposed to launch today morning at 9 a.m. Okay, so probably it must have been launched by now. So the objective of this particular satellite is to go and study the you can say bodies like celestial bodies like black holes, okay, neutron stars or megastars. These all celestial bodies, or you can say these extraterrestrial bodies, the objective is to study them so that we can get more idea about the working or the dynamics of these particular bodies. Okay, so that is the particularly you can say the objective of this particular mission. Okay, it has been launched from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. XPOSAT is only world's second such mission. Before that, there is this Imagining X-ray Polarimetry Explorer by NASA. Okay, so IXPE has been launched in 2021 by NASA. Okay, and now India is the second country to have such observatory in the space. Okay, XPOSAT will operate within the medium X-ray band. Okay, and now this will be launched and placed in the low Earth orbit. Right, now let's have a look at the you can say what is XPOSAT. XPOSAT stands for the X-ray polarimeter satellite. As I told you, this will be working in the medium range X-rays frequencies. Okay, it is aimed at studying various dynamics of the astronomical sources in extreme conditions, or you can say that all these extraterrestrial bodies, they will be talking about and studying this. It is only the world's second polarimetry mission using X-ray after NASA's Imaging X-ray Polarimetry Explorer, that is IXPE. It was launched in 2021. It will be placed in low Earth orbit. Okay, it will carry two scientific payloads, you can say. Okay, so one would be to study the polarimetry parameters. Okay, that is a polarimeter instrument in X-ray, that is POLIX, enable the measurement of the polarimetry parameters such as the degree and angle of polarization. Okay, originating from the astronomical sources. So these astronomical sources, or you can say these bodies, have some kind of you can say explosions, and which led to some kind of emissions from these bodies. See, these emissions are quite important. Okay, we will study these emissions with the help of this polarimetry instrument in X-ray, and then X-ray spectroscopy and timing. Okay, so this POLIX will study the degree and angle of polarization. You can say it will study the shape and the degree at which these emissions are happening, and then X-ray spectroscopy and timing, that is SPECT, will provide valuable timing and the spectroscopic information. So basically it will provide the timing, it will provide the shape and the angle at which these emissions are happening, and with the help of that we will kind of study the astronomical sources of emissions. Okay, here you can see importance in the understanding astronomical sources. Polarimetry measures offers excellent diagnostic tool for the comprehending the emission process from the various astronomical sources. As I told you, these outer bodies, these astronomical sources, they go for some kind of emission. Okay, and with the help of these two instruments, we will be having an idea, or you can say shape and size and degree of emissions. We will be studying the emission processes and the dynamics which is happening on such bodies. Okay, astronomical sources includes black hole, neutron stars, active galactical nuclei, pulsars, wind nebulae, present complex emission mechanism that challenges the current understanding. Okay, these things are happening in the extreme conditions or way far ahead. So that is why these telescopes are important to observe such happenings. Okay, By combining polarimeter observations with the spectroscopic and timing measurements, researchers will anticipate overcoming the limitations of the present understanding of the astronomical emission process. You don't have to go into details of these astronomical emission processes and how these things are done. Only thing you have to remember that the object of expo set is to study these processes and astronomical sources over there. And what are these astronomical sources? These are bodies like black hole, neutrino stars, galactic nuclei, pulsar wind nebulas. All these things are considered as astronomical sources, and these sources somehow emit some kind of you can say substances, and now we are trying to study all these substances with the help of ExpoSat. Okay. So India is the second country having such telescope in the outer space after NASA. Now moving further, government set up anti-Maoist operations, security strengthened in Bastar area. Hold on. So here they are talking about anti-Maoist operations. Okay, so Maoism is a philosophy of overthrowing, you can say, state, okay, and taking control with the help of, you can say, insurgency or going against the democratic process, all these things. Okay, so these are you can say a revolutionary type of Maoism, you can say, or Marxism, you can say. Okay, so here we will start with the article. Here Amit Shah has said that we are going for such activities, or you can say anti-Maoist activities, to suppress the violence in this particular area. Okay, so border security forces has been deployed in the South Bastar in Chhattisgarh. So there are few areas like Jagdalpur, Bastar, or you can say this areas like Sukama. All these areas are quite you can say under influence of these Naxalism or Naxalites, and that is why there is this deployment of forces on the in the Chhattisgarh, etc. Here when we are talking about this Naxal affected areas, you can see this belt is kind of Naxal affected. Okay, and these areas in red like Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, these are even more affected than other areas. Okay, so when we are talking about this Bastar, it is in Chhattisgarh. Okay, and then when we are talking about Sukama, it is in Odisha. Okay, Sukama, Jagdalpur, these things, these places are in Odisha, and they are somehow, you can say, they had been bases of these Naxal activities in the past. Okay, and still there are some 4 to 5 areas which has very strong hold of these Naxalites in that particular area. Okay, so now here it is learned that security forces are making new police camp deep inside the forest of South Bastar region. Okay, so what they are doing is they are making new police camps. Okay, so earlier what used to happen, that whenever you sanitize an area and then the forces went out of it, these Naxal used to take over those areas again. Okay, because there is no police infrastructure. Okay, so now what forces are doing is when they are going inside the forest, they are clearing it and then making a police chowki, or you can say police infrastructure over there. Okay, or police camps over there. Or because of which they cannot take hold of that area again, and that is how you can ensure that this area is properly sanitized. Okay, so that is been done. Now there is uptick in the Maoist violence, which has we can say that in the further coming months we can see a uptick in the Maoist violence because of such activities which has been happening in this particular area. Maoist trying to stop security forces from building police camp in the remote areas, because once these infrastructure is built, it will be hard for them to capture these areas again. Okay, so that is why they are building these areas, and we are anticipating that there might be a increase in the violence related to Naxal activities. Okay, now there is this People's Liberation Guerrilla Army, which is basically, you can say, banned organization, or part of this communist movement. Okay, or this Maoist movement in the Sukama district under the leadership of Hidma. Okay, so member of the Communist Party of India, CPI Maoist, has their own army, that is People's Liberation Guerrilla Army, that is PGLA, and their strongest PGLA battalion is in Sukama district. Okay, and under the leadership of Hidma. You can remember these names, because when you are writing an answer related to your Naxal movements or the solution for the Naxal movements, these these facts which give you some extra marks. Okay, then there are these districts like Sukama, Dantewada, Bijapur, Narayanpur, then Bastar. All these are most affected or worst affected areas of Naxalism. He said that I reviewed our fight against left wing extremism and wanted to tell you the people of my country with joy that we are on the edge of completely eliminating the left wing extremism. Okay, so now they are trying to eliminate it. The last 4 strongholds of the Maoists in the Bastar region are North Kankar and Abujmad. Okay, so they are saying that in these areas also they are doing these activities and they are trying to eliminate this whole movement from the country. Okay, it has been a long time. It has started in 1960s. Okay, we'll trace through the history of it. Now these areas are important. When we are talking about let's say any question is there for the this Maoist conflict related, you can simply draw a small map. Okay, such like this, and then you can show that this is the affected area. Okay, this such things will give you extra marks. So that is why this particular map is important. These areas like Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, parts of Telangana, and then parts of, you can say, Kerala. So these are Maoist affected areas. Okay, the worst affected areas are Chhattisgarh and parts of Jharkhand and West Bengal. Now let's have a look at the history. Left wing extremism in India. Okay, so popularly it is known as Maoism or Maoist operations in India. Other than that, Naxalites, we also call them Naxalites because it started from Naxalbari area in West Bengal. Okay, the term Naxalism derives its name from the village Naxalbari of West Bengal. Okay, so initially this particular movement was against the landlords. Okay, and then when it started in the initial phase of it, it was for the land reforms and the distribution of such lands in the to the peasants. Okay, so that is how it started, but then it actually spread to various areas. Okay, the rebellion initially initiated in 1967 with an object of rightful distribution of the land to the working peasant and the leadership under the leadership of Kanu Sayal and Jagan Santhal. Okay, these two names are quite important for you. This particular statement is quite important, that how it started, what was the objective, and under whose leadership it started. Okay, so inherently if we look at it, it is a problem of developmental disparity. Okay, in these areas the land reforms were not very good, or the distribution of land was not right, because of which this started, and ultimately it has took a shape of extremism, and now we can say that it is essentially a problem of developmental disparity. Okay, now Maoism is a form of communism. It is a doctrine to capture state power through combination of armed insurgencies, mass mobilization and strategic alliances. Okay, so as we discussed, this is particular philosophy is the philosophy of taking overthrowing the state or the capturing of the state through various strategies like armed rebellion, or you can say mobilization of masses and strategic alliances. Okay, the movement has spread across the eastern India in the less developed areas of states like Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. So these areas, if you look at it, these are essentially such tribal areas, or the areas which show very less development activities. Okay, and because of which these areas have stronghold of this Naxal movement, or you can say left wing extremism in India. What are the reason for left wing extremism? So tribal discontent, as I told you, this particular area is having majority population in tribal belt. So that is why there is tribal discontent related to Forest Conservation Act of 1980. Under this act, there were some activities which were banned, or you can say which affected the employment of these tribal communities. Okay. Other than that, when we are talking about this particular act, there was a massive displacement of tribal population, okay, for the developmental purpose. So when this displacement happened, they were not given any kind of rehabilitation centers, or you can say they were not given their resentment was not properly addressed. Okay. Other than that also, when we are talking about the communities which are living in forest, they have some kind of attachment with the forest or that particular area. They consider it sacred. Okay, that is why this particular movement was sparked at that particular point of time. Then these people were the easy targets for the Maoists. Okay, so when we are talking about the countries like China, etc., they are supporting such movements because they are also propagating this philosophy of Maoism. Okay, now when we are talking about these tribal targets, etc., they are very vulnerable because they have been displaced from their areas. There is lack of development and they need employment somehow. They need something to feed their children, and that is why they become target of these Maoist activities. Okay, so it is easy for them to get recruited in such movements. Okay, gaps in socio-economic systems of the country. As I told you, this is essentially a problem of development. When we are talking about socio-economic parameters, these are ultimately addressing the development. Absence of strong technical intelligence to fight with Naxalites. Okay, since in these areas these people are operating from forests, or you can say villages, here connectivity is very less. So because of which even government does not have any kind of information when they want to target them. Other than that, they have local support. Okay, so that is why there is a gap of, you can say, a dearth of information of such activities. Infrastructural problems and connectivity. As I told you, this is problem of developmental disparity. Infra is not built in this particular area, and then there is a problem of connectivity. Confusion over tackling Naxalism as a social issue or as a security threat. As I told you, when no doubt it is a security threat if they are going for the armed rebellion. Okay, but the second thing is they are people from our own countries. They are not satisfied with the state, and that is why they have turned toward the arms. Okay, so that is why even government has this dilemma that how should we address this particular problem, as a social issue or the issue of development or as a security threat. Okay, so that is why these are the reason for persistence of this particular movement till as of now. Okay. Now, what are the government initiatives which has been taken to fight this? There are greyhounds. It is a force which has been made by government, that is an elite anti-Naxal force. Okay. Then we have Operation Green Hunt in 2009-10 to go for hunting, or you can say to go for eliminating such Maoist activities. Okay. Then left wing extremism mobile tower project. In 2014, we know that after there is a regime change, we have given a push for the connectivity, digital connectivity, etc., and that is why such things like left wing extremism mobile tower project to improve the mobile connectivity in the left wing extremism areas. Then aspirational district programs. This is for the districts which are performing poorly on the socio-economic parameters or indicators, and that is why this particular scheme is to go for targeting the low hanging fruits, so that we can go for the faster development of such areas. Okay, for those areas also these left wing extremism areas are also considered for that scheme. Okay, other than that, there is this holistic solution, that is Samadhan. Okay, this Samadhan, it is a scheme of government, or you can say initiative by government. It stands for the smart leadership in the area, aggressive strategy related to a solution of this particular problem, motivation and training, actionable intelligence, dashboard based KPIs, that is key performance indicators, and KRA, key result areas. Then harnessing technology, action plan for each theatre, and no access to financing. So basically they are using this strategy wherein they are going for the leadership, smart leadership in this particular area. They are going for the aggressive strategies, motivation and training, and now actionable intelligence gathering from that particular area. And then you can say there is an action plan for each theatre. They have divided this particular area into various theatres, and there is a plan for action for those theatres, and they are using the technology. Okay, so whatever things, or you can say, as I told you, there was this dearth of information or intelligence, so they are trying to remove that dearth and using this Samadhan as a initiative or solution for the to eliminate this left wing extremism from country. Okay, so these are some initiative which has been taken by the government of India. Okay, so now as I told you, this deployment of security forces, border security forces, has been increased in the Bastar area. Okay, now as to conclude, we can say that this is also a problem of developmental disparity, and so that is why government has to make sure that whatever infra we are creating over there, that infra stays. Okay, as I told you, whenever there is a sanitization process, and when the forces leave that particular area, they used to reoccupy that area. Okay, so now when there are police chowkis which has been built in this particular statement of the home minister, he has said that now forces are making these police chowkis or the police camps in the area, and that will create a permanent, or you can say at least for now, temporary infrastructure over there. Now priority should be to make sure that this infrastructure stays. Or when we are talking about anything related to connectivity, like you can roadways, railways, all these connectivity projects are important, so that you can deploy the forces also. Okay, now other than that, you have to take note of the indicators, developmental indicators in the area, and work on that. That is the programs like aspirational district program. Okay, and now you have to have this connect with the masses. As I told you, these movements are largely supported by the masses of that particular area. Or if you are generating some kind of awareness with the masses, then only you can tackle this particular problem. Okay, so that is about this left wing extremism related problem. We have discussed this holistically with the how it initiated, what are the reasons for persistence, what are the solution government is looking for, okay, and what can be the conclusion. With that, we will move forward. Center appoints Arvind Pangaria as the chairman of 16th Finance Commission. As I told you in the news, we have seen that the terms of reference for this particular 16th Finance Commission has been notified by the government, okay, and now they have appointed the chair for the this particular Finance Commission, okay. The former Niti Aayog Vice Chairman Arvind Pangaria as the chairman of the 16th Finance Commission, okay. When we are talking about the functions or the recommendation of the Finance Commission, they will be talking about the distribution of tax revenue between center and state, among the states, okay. Other than that, they will provide for the principle on which the grants will be given by the central government, okay, and then they will also recommend the amount of such grants, okay. So these are the areas wherein they will give their recommendations. Other than that, they have also gone for the measures needed to augment the consolidated fund of the state, okay. So for the fiscal of the state, they will for that also they will recommend some ideas on the basis of the recommendation of the State Finance Commission, whatever in the lines with the State Finance Commission only, okay. So the measures needed to augment the consolidated fund of state to supplement the resources of the panchayat and municipalities on the basis of the recommendations of the recommendation made by the Finance Commission of the state, okay. So their recommendation will be in the line with the State Finance Commission, okay. Now they will also talk about the financing disaster management initiatives, okay. There is this fund under the Disaster Management Act, okay. So they will talk about that fund and the funding in that particular how the finance will be covered in that particular fund and how to distribute that particular finance, okay. So they will also talk about that disaster management initiative or the fund with reference to the which is created under the Disaster Management Act 2005, okay. So report should be submitted by the 31st October 2025, okay, for the year starting from the 1st April 2026, okay. So this will be the timeline, you can say. And the Finance Commission is constituted under Article 280 of the Constitution. This is a fact, you must remember that, okay. Now when we are talking about Mr. Arvind, he was the first vice chairman of Niti Aayog from January 2015 to 2017, India's G20 Sherpa in 2017 and Chancellor of the Nalanda University, okay. So these are the specific, if you don't want to remember, it's okay, but the thing is this you should remember what were the recommendations which are to be given by the Finance Commission, what is new which has been added, that is disaster management fund related issues they have added newly, okay. So that is about 16th Finance Commission. Now moving further, world affairs, how two choke points could turn into a perfect storm for the global trade, okay. So recently in our last lectures we have talked a lot about this issue in Red Sea, okay, because of which the trade between Asia and Europe will be hindered, okay. So here one choke point is that Suez Canal, okay. So that is one issue, and that is in news because of the Hamas chaos created in the Red Sea because of their support to the Houthis chaos created in the Red Sea because for their support to the Hamas in the Gaza Strip, okay. So basically Houthis, which are supported by Iran, they are based in Yemen and now they are supporting Hamas in Gaza Strip, okay, and that is why they are trying to play some games in Red Sea area, okay, because of which the trade from the Suez Canal is been impacted. So that is first choke point. Second choke point is this Panama Canal, okay. So now trade or you can say passing of vessels in Panama Canal is also hindered because of the lack of water in the canal. Okay, because of which it is kind of there is a difficulty in navigation in that particular canal. Okay, so because of which the trade in this particular area is also kind of getting impacted. Now from your you can say Pacific Ocean to Atlantic Ocean, this canal was the way to connect the Pacific with the Atlantic. Now they have to circumvent all the way from the American continent to the Atlantic. Okay, so that is why the cost of the carriages will increases. Here also, when we are talking about the blockage of the Suez Canal, the cost will increase because they have to circumvent the Cape of Good Hope. Okay, so that is why these are the two choke points which are in news, and now they are undergoing some kind of problems, because of which the global trade will get impacted. Other than that also, we are seeing the trends in the global economy where demand crisis is there. Okay, in the wake of that demand crisis, if we see, and now the prices will increase because of this particular issue in the maritime sea routes, or you can say maritime trade routes, because of which there will be a further increase in the prices, and ultimately it will harm the export and import sector. Okay, other than that, when we are talking about imports from Russia, how they are not impacted. Okay, because Russia and Iran are close, they are allies. Okay, and these Houthis are supported by Iran. Okay, so they are not impacting the Russian vessels going through this particular area. Okay, so that is why we can say that this particular issue is not impacting India trade wise. Okay, our demands are fulfilled from the Russian oil, but the thing is, because of this issue, there are chances that worldwide we will see an increase in the prices. Okay, so that is what is given in this particular article which we have discussed. Okay, now if you want, you can give it a read. Moving further, there is this article regarded to the Dunkey route to the Europe. As I told you in the last classes, we have talked about Dunkey route to USA. Okay, so from India to Latin America, and Latin America to from this particular area of Central America to USA. Okay, so that was the Dunkey route to USA, and now they are talking about Dunkey route to Europe as well. Okay, so most of the time what happens is, from the African countries you cross the Mediterranean and then go to the countries like France and Spain or UK. Okay, but recently there are some islands like Serbia, etc. So people are directly going over there because these are having some, you can say, less restrictions on the visa policies, and because of which people are going there. Okay, and then they are moving or getting into the Europe. Okay, so generally what happens is they go there as tourists, because before going to Serbia, what they will do is they will go to Nepal, Bhutan, or the nearby areas like Dubai, UAE. Okay, and then when they will have a significant amount of travel on their passport, and then they will go to Serbia, it will give them an impression of tourist, and then they will enter into Serbia, and then from there they will enter into Europe. Okay, so these are the routes which are being taken by these particular immigrants. Okay, other than that, there are some routes related to, you can say, illegal routes are also present. Okay, and on those routes there are various problems related to, you can say, exploitations by agents over there. Okay, and now these things are in news because everywhere every country is talking about migration issues. Okay, in France, when we are talking about UK, European Union, and then when we are talking about USA, all these countries are talking about issue of migrations, and that is why these routes are in news. Okay, so we have covered, as I told you, there is there are various countries like Belgrade, etc. They have visa free regimes for Indians. Okay, Indians, and other than that, countries like Turkey, Tunisia, Cuba, Burundi, all these countries are having visa free regime with the Belgrade, and that is why migrants from these countries go to countries like Belgrade, and then they enter into Europe. Okay, or you can say UK and France and the countries which are having some kind of opportunities over there. Okay, so that we have talked about Dunkey route to Europe. You can give it a read. This is for your own read, because the problem we have discussed in the last lectures, and now there is this new route to Europe which you can read on your own. Okay, that this is about this is what I was talking about when going to USA. There was another article in the previous newspaper which actually dedicated to this particular route, and now this article is there. Okay, so here, as I told you, from India they will go to Dubai, then Serbia, then Romania, Hungary, and then to the Italy, and then France, like that. Okay, so these are Dunkey routes to, you can say, Europe. There are issues because they are going through, or they were traveling through the delivery truck, and or they are tucked in the small boxes in the delivery truck, so that they cannot be identified. So all these things are related to human smuggling and the migration issues. Okay. Now moving further, practice questions for your prelims. What is the primary function of Xraypo set? Xraypo set, we have talked about it. Okay, it is a polarization satellite, or you can say a telescope observatory of India. Okay, what is the primary function? A, agriculture irrigation monitoring. B, weather forecasting. C, studying dynamics of astronomical sources. D, satellite based internet connectivity. Okay, so you have to choose the correct answer and comment, put it in the comment box. Now moving further, for your mains question, what are the key socio-economic factors contributing to the persistence of nationalism in the certain region of India? Okay, here they are talking about key socio-economic factors. Okay, now you can mention there all these socio-economic factors which we have discussed, like as I told you, there is the developmental disparity. As I told you, this issue started from the land related issues. Okay, then issues of connectivity are there. There are various developmental parameters on which they are lacking. Okay, other than that also, these are tribal communities. Okay, so they have their own culture, their own social values, etc. So all these factors you can mention here. Then they are talking about certain regions of India. When you are writing these your answer for mains, you have to go and check for the keywords which are given in the questions. Okay, so like one is key socio-economic factors. So first you have to mention that there are these socio-economic factors. Okay, then they have said that certain regions of India. Now you have to mention these certain regions of India. Okay, as I told you, we can go for this particular map. Okay, now you can tell that these are the areas which are affected by nationalism or this particular problem. What strategy can the government implement to effectively address and mitigate the long-standing issues? Okay, so when we are talking about governmental strategies, first you can give ideas about all those schemes which are in place. Okay, like Samadhan, aspirational district programs, all these connectivity related issues, initiatives, all these things you can mention, and after that you can give a way forward in which you can say that what else could be done. Okay, so that this particular problem can be eliminated efficiently. Okay, so that would be the structure of your answer. Okay, with that I would wrap up the session. Once again, Happy New Year, have a good day.